today what we have in front of me here is a Philco 46 420, also known as the Philco Hippo. I've already started covering in other videos what I'm going to do with the cabinet, and this is the electronics. I've decided I am going to do a restoration of the electronics. It's going to be pretty simple here. The first thing I want to do, before I show you underneath, is I do want to detach the loop antenna here so that I don't damage it. And if you can hear that frying sound, that's the wax on the coil. It stinks pretty bad. Alright, we've got the loop antenna disconnected. Here it is. Pretty simple loop. This radio might be considered not an All-American 5. Those are generally the transformerless 5-tube chassis. This might be termed an All-American 6, because there are 6 tubes in here. The one I can tell that seems to be the odd man is there is an additional RF amplifier on the input. And of course, it being a Philco, there's lots of these Philco octal tubes. But then you have the octals, like here's the, this is probably a 50, a replacement, a 50L6 audio output tube, and then you got a 35 Z5 rectifier. Everything else here is Philco. Well, octal, because there's some replacements, there's some Sylvania in here. But being this is a transformerless set, there are a couple things I want to do. Oh, replacement cord already. Figured that cord didn't look original, and it's just been wired in here. This is the remnants of the original cracked wiring. This is why you don't just power up a radio after it's been sitting for many years. Some old friction tape here. Yeah, this is going to go. Because since this is a hot chassis set, there is no power transformer. One side of the line does go right to the chassis. I guess that's how you can make it fit. Get rid of it where it goes, where it belongs, and yeah, keep the wire nuts, but not use them. What I want to do here to make this radio safer is to replace the cord, of course, but replace it with a polarized plug. That way you're not putting the chassis hot. The chassis will be at neutral if you polarize the plug. And I'm also going to put a fuse in. General, other than tubes, this looks rather, in that cord, this looks rather original. It doesn't look like it's been messed with too much. Here's the filter capacitor. It's a dual section. According to the schematic here, it's right here. There's a dual 2020 microfarad electrolytic. There's no voltage specifications for any of these, but it's held in here with a little band. So that'll go. Replace with something much more modern. Got some papers here. A 0.40 microfarad. 0.04. Not sure what this is. On this capacitor here, there's a coiled wire on one end. Yeah, that's Philco. Couple others. There's not a whole lot of caps in here. So once I start going, it should go pretty fast. Got to clean it up first a bit. It's in generally good shape though. Dirty as all heck. The base on the output tube is cracked, but I think I have some of these. I have some series string tubes. So this should be a fairly easy restoration. Continue to watch for some more updates. Well, I was able to find a brand new old stock RCA rectifier, the 35Z5. I was not able to find a new 50L6 output tube, and I've already removed one. Well, I've already removed the old wax antenna coupling capacitor, and I'm going to install this new one, 0.015 microfarad. The original was 200 working volts. That's what everything is here in this radio. 200 working volts or less from what I can tell so far. But this is a 630. These are the standard yellow ones you get from Just Radios. Have heard that they're probably Chinese. They're, film caps. There's different types, and there's ones like these. These are 630 volts also. That's why you go with for these unless there's a reason to go higher. This is I guess these could be called, I've heard them called orange dips, not orange drops, which are these. That's an orange drop. But these are orange dips. They're all film caps. I believe these are polyester. This is a 0.0047. Yeah, 0.0047 microfarad. 630 volt corner double capacitor. I also use, these ones are Panasonic, and I get those from Mauser. But Mauser also does have Cornell Dublé, and they make little axial lead ones too. And these are also 0.0047 microfarad. These look good in a place where you have to see them if you want to be a little more authentic. They cost a lot more than the Panasonics. Not as much. It depends on the value, but these 0.0047s, I think they were twice as much as the Panasonics. You also got to watch when you're ordering these type, the Panasonics, that they don't have J after the number, because a J means they are cut lead, which means that the leads are only about half an inch long, meant for putting on printed circuit boards. and I guess you could use them, but that would mean a lot more work. Believe me, I did it, so I know. Kind of do this the way the original was done. I soldered in. Sometimes the lead link gets a little bit in the way. Go. I get my pliers here and pull that tight and then solder it in here. Well, I got the first replacement cap in there. So now I get to start pulling out the others here. I want to start with trying to get this filter cap out here. Let's see if I can get the not sure how they got that strap in. Now this is a 150 volt spray gun, dual this has been replaced with the wrong value. According to schematic, it's supposed to be a 20 microfarad. Dual. And this is a 40. So that needs to get replaced. Also, this, I wonder if the filter capacitor blew up here a little bit. This strap is really in bad shape and this didn't fit too well. Pop that back in there. All I needed to get was the voltage. Start working on the arms. There's a 0.1. Well, the postman just came and got my order from Just Radios in Canada, and it actually came quite quickly. I ordered it last Thursday. I was not expecting it this quickly. If you hear me sniffle and that kind of stuff, I have a cold. Love the start of fall winter weather. So here we've got capacitors. And since I was at it, I just order 10 at a time because they're cheap enough. You know, 0.05. Some of the odd values I can't really get at Mauser. You know, 0.004, which is funny because these are bigger than the 0.05, but that's okay. Capacitors to make the redo the electrolytics in a couple radios, and the ones for this 10. These are the ones I got for this one. I'm actually going to try to restuff this cap. My first restuffing job, but this one's pretty easy. It's just the end. On this end there's a little plug that'll come out, but it'll make it nice. Yeah. There's the other one. Yeah, tell me I messed that up. But yeah. Yeah, the 222 microfarad. Now my 250 volts, they originally were 150. They should fit in there with no problem. So, and being that they're the axial leads, these are not high temp. They're 85 degree. High temp axials are very hard to find. When you do find them, they're not cheap at all. They're like, oh, you know, a high temp 22 microfarad radio would be like, you know, at this value, at 22 microfarad, 250 volt would be like at the most $1. Usually like 65 cents, and in radial, when they're high temp, I mean axial, they are generally about $7 a pop. So I don't really use them in that, but they'll be okay in this application. I just want to do it so I can restuff. Got a replacement for this, which is the line bypass cap, safety cap. So which one is it? Yeah, they didn't have, so I got this one. This is a 0.04. No, they don't have 0.04, so 0.047. And yeah, just look at the difference in the size. That's why I was just telling my one friend, I said working on these radios is awesome, because the more parts you replace, the more room you get to work to replace parts. But let's start working on this cap first, and that'll actually be a separate video that I'll do for the pardon me. That'll be a separate video for the restuffing of this cap, and then I'll continue with everything else here. Well, I've got all my caps here. First off is the the restuffed filter cap. And then here I have my film caps that are going to replace all the old paper wax ones. First is the line bypass cap. This is an X2 type, because in the schematic is this one. Let's see. It's that capacitor right there, which technically goes across the AC line. So, because if you just draw this out, it goes across the AC line. And for the X2, those are meant to go across the line. I mean, for safety caps, they said, yeah, that's the easy way to remember it. X means across the line. And the other type is Y, which goes straight from one end of the line to ground. Just one end of the line. And safety caps should be installed, especially in these chassis, because they're hot chassis. And they help prevent interference, which, yeah, there was interference sources back in the 20s, 30s, 40s that don't exist anymore. Old generators in cars and diathermy machines, stuff like that. But now we've got computers with switching power supplies, and cell phone chargers with switching power supplies, and all that kind of stuff that just generates tons of garbage on the AC line. So it does help to make it reduce the interference that it'll pick up. And the rest are just the other caps I got. These white ones are the CDE, the Cornell Dublé ones. They're a little bit more expensive than these non-branded yellow ones, which are more than likely Chinese, but yeah, they work well enough for more critical apps, I do use these. If I was doing a hi-fi amplifier, I would order all of these. And for the coupling stages, these are polyfilm, either polyester or polypropylene. No real difference in radios. But if I was doing a real hi-fi amp, a nice Fisher or Macintosh amp, I would definitely use all these, except in the coupling stages, in which there I would use polystyrene. But those you have to be careful for because they can melt when you're soldering them. But what's going to happen is I'm going to replace all these caps. Got to be careful here that I don't bust up the speaker. But I'm going to replace all of these old paper wax caps. There, it focuses a bit better. Like these ones here, and this is the line. This one here is the line bypass cap. If I pan over here and tilt up just a little, you'll also see the remnants of the power cord. It was pretty sad shape. Rubber covering and it's flaking off. So what I'm going to do when I replace the cord is I'm going to replace it with this. A polarized lamp cord. Putting a polarized cord on a hot chassis set, make sure that the neutral side, it'll make sure that the neutral side is connected to the chassis ground and not the hot side. Still not the safest chassis ever, but that makes it a lot more safe. And safety is a very big concern these days in this litigious society, and even though this probably won't leave my family, I still want to make it a safe radio, you know. I'm not going to be the only one using it. I'll have, I'm sure, other family members using it. I don't want them getting shocked either, so always good on these hot chassis. Also, to put in a line fuse. I'm going to try to figure out a way to mount one, but for the initial test up and everything, I'm not going to even do that, but probably half an amp line fuse. So I'm going to get started on the recapping. Well, here we are again. I'm feeling quite a bit better today. As you can probably hear, I sound better. I did manage to get a few capacitors replaced yesterday. 0.22 microfarad that replaced this kludge of a 0.2. The end had broken off of and someone just soldered a bunch of wire on. Also this 0.05 microfarad and this I think it's 0.1, yeah. I think some of these have been replaced because there's a mixture of Philco and Sprague, and generally they'd only be a Philco. And so, yeah, here's the 0.05, the little yellow job. 0.01 is this one here, and the 0.22 is the chiclet, the orange dip. So we've got the unbranded yellow Chinese cap from Just Radios, the 0.1 from, this is a Cornell Dublé CD, and this one's Panasonic. And they're all 630 volts. I've standardized on 630 because that's the most common. High voltage would be 630, and that's usually way over what most radios have, so these will work. There are a couple specialty cases where you need higher voltage than that, and I'll order those as needed, but I just generally order in parts. The next one I'm going to take care of is this 0.04, which is as you can see, it looks pretty bad already. And it's the line bypass cap, so this is going to be its replacement. You know, these are radio leads, but they're PC mount, but they're long enough. Just bend them out and then solder it in. And then these three that are here. Like I said, this radio has been worked on because this one's a Mallory. I mean, this radio's been worked on several times. But start working on those and then replace this absolutely nasty power cord. Just breaks and bits in. I'm going to turn this down. And, you know, if I had even powered this up, this would have shorted out because there's breaks in the wire and it's horrible. This is what the rubber covered wiring does. But it was being used like that, so someone was lucky. Well, someone was my grandfather and then me, because I used to use it too. So, you know, I'll work on replacing these, and then I'll throw the a couple little cracks here in the speaker cone I'm going to work on repairing. And then after that, I'll tubes in, power her up, and see what we get. And I also got to lube this shaft and these posts because everything's a little stiff here, but a little zoom spout oil will take care of that nicely. And yeah, we'll see once I get a few more caps in. I've started to work again on the capacitors here that were all tied to the volume and the power switch here. And I'm very glad I was changing it because this is the bypass cap right here. It came apart in my hands as I was taking it out. So yeah, that's not good. The other one here, the points, is this 0.02? 0.20, yeah, 0.02. It fared a little better, and that's right here. And then I'll put a new cord in, have a nice polarized plug here, and on these ones it's got the ribs on it. The rib is the neutral end and the non-ribbed end is the hot end, and so the hot will go and the neutral will go here, going to the switch, because that's what gets grounded to the chassis. So it will go here, goes to the switch, goes to the capacitor, gets grounded to the chassis. The other side's the hot. That makes this set a little safer. Waiting for the iron to heat up, and then I just gotta remove this wire here so I can put this capacitor in here. Great size comparison. Same capacitance. Let's see, does it even have a voltage reading on it? 400 volts. 400 volt, 630. So, quite a change. And then you can even tell between these two there's the same value. 46, probably mid 50s. I'm waiting for the iron to heat up and then I'll continue. Here I got the capacitors in, got the safety cap here, the 3 wax ones replaced with their film equivalents, same here. So now all I've got to do is wire in the new line cord, replace this capacitor, and rewire in the original filter. Alright, got the line cord in, got the filter cap in, all the other caps. I still have the one real old one, but I want to do a quick test before I replace that last one, just to make sure I didn't mess up royally, because that last one's going to be a kind of a pain to get at, so I'll leave that for a second. What I'm doing now, I've repopulated all the tubes, and I never did find a replacement. I never replaced them with this 50L6. I only have a 12L6. That's not going to work. And I did find a replacement for the rectifier, which is 35Z5. And this is new old stock RCA. As you can see here. The other one was pretty toasted. So, also replaced the pilot light. It was burnt out. Here's the original. This is a Type 47, and it's supposed to be a Type 44. Luckily, I have bought a 10-pack of them a while back when I did the Zenith. What I'm doing here is I'm just going to check for if there's any, well, good, it looks like there's no shorts to ground, because what I did was connect the plug up to my multimeter here. I should get infinite resistance because I have it off. I really have no idea what the resistance should be, but it's not a short, so there's no shorts to ground. Everything looks okay, and so that looks good. And all right, I'm gonna pause this. I'm gonna go get my Variac and dim bulb, and we'll start that. By the way, I don't think I'm particularly brilliant with this multimeter check. This isn't something that I came up with. It's actually something from another YouTube user, B. Anderson TV. Thanks, Bob. That's a great tip. You know, learning as I go along. I'm learning a lot between this and all the other projects. I've learned a lot. Okay, here we go. We've got the radio plugged into the dim bulb tester, which is then hooked up to the Variac. Radio is on. Have the tuning condenser set for what could approximately be 570 kilohertz. I don't know. There's no dial scale because that's in the cabinet. And 570 is a really local radio station. The transmitter is about a mile from here. And alright, so start ramping it up. I also have this stereo muted. Paused at the moment just to make sure. Okay, starting to get a little glow on the light here. Tubes are starting to warm up. About 75 volts. About 80. Nothing from the speaker yet. No pops or anything horrid either, which is good. I'm going to set it for what would be normal line voltage then, 115 volts. I hear something. Oh, good. There's static. Tin condenser is incredibly dirty. Now, one of my local noise generators. Let me hook some kind of an antenna up at the moment. Right. Let me pause this and turn on a light.
And let's begin with John. What are the differences between the two of you about how you would go about it? John.
Well, I'm getting something. I think I might have a shorted plate or two in the tuning cap. I'm gonna look into that and see. Of course, it could be also that other cap that I have in there that's bad, but at least no smoke, no flames. Everything seems to be working to a point. And what you heard was the introduction to the debate, which is as far as I'm getting with politics today, because I'm sick of it all. I'm not going to get into that. I don't even want to do that, so I'm going to go to the gym, which is a much better use of my time than listening to those two and their pre-prepared questions that they say weren't pre-prepared. I know enough about the media to know that that's very false. But here we go. That's how it looks for right now. And what I'm going to do tomorrow is I'm going to replace that one last cap, ask a couple questions online, and then start doing some basic repair on the speaker. But so far this is looking really good, and it'll be sitting on my mantle really soon with the fully restored cabinet, which I'll show you when